Despite a gag order being placed on him earlier this week by the judge in the New York hush money case, Donald Trump is still attacking not only the judge, but also his daughter, and now doing that by name. And so we'll bring up one of his messages where he is trying to draw the attention of his base on Truth Social, not only to Judge Merchan, but also to Lauren, his capital D daughter, who is apparently a rabid Trump hater, who has admitted to having conversations with her father about me, and yet he gagged me. You gotta word that differently, man. Just say he put a gag order on me. Don't say that the judge gagged you, you big goof. But anyway, the idea there is, hey, did you know he's got a daughter? He's got a daughter, and his daughter's really bad. She does Democrat stuff. She works with Shifty Schiff. Did you know that? Did you know that? Maybe you should look her up. Maybe you should give her a call. Maybe you should send her mail. Of course, he's never gonna be that explicit. He's never gonna say it. But we know the threats that have come to virtually every public official that has crossed Donald Trump. I have no doubt that the Merchan family is very worried, that Lauren is very worried at this point. He goes on in a second message, by the way, we can bring this up. And this is where it turns a little bit away from the threats to, I guess it's a defense. Like he says that Jonathan Turley described this case as illegally pathetic, there was no crime. Virtually every legal scholar says it's not a case, has never been brought before, it's not criminal, it shouldn't exist. Isn't it weird that in all the various crimes that he is alleged to have committed, whether it's trying to overturn the results of the election in Georgia, or the January 6th insurrection, or the classified documents, or the hush money, or E. Jean Carroll, not only did he not do it, but it's never been seen before, it's never been prosecuted, we've never seen anything like it. Did he just not pay attention to like law and order all these years? People have violated the law before and they've gotten in trouble before. This might be new to you, but it's not new to the country.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Maybe how shameless he is new, I suppose. But when you pay off someone like Stormy Daniels, that might be well and good outside of the context of an election. You're allowed to do that. Rich men do that sort of thing all the time. Look into Elon Musk's past. But in this case, it was during an election. That had an effect on the perception of you at a critical moment during the election. And if that wasn't bad enough, then you tried to hide it in terms of the paper trail, and you potentially committed fraud when you did that. That is why he is facing 34 counts of falsifying business records. He's not being prosecuted for having an affair. That's his own personal issue to deal with. It's the falsifying business records that could end up getting him. Anyway, Helen, at this point, what do you think?
Did I already say colossal D-bag?
You said something like that. Feel free to repeat it, honestly. You have free speech.
My First Amendment rights, man, colossal D-bag. A colossal bloated D-bag is what I said, and I stand by that. It's my favorite phrase. The fact that he's like, he's got a daughter, wink, wink. And maybe if something bad happened to her, wink, wink. I'm sorry, I'm trying to wink with this eye, but I can only wink with this eye, so I should go like this. It's just, I mean, isn't that against, I feel like that's gotta be against the law somehow.
Well,
like, it's crazy
to be clear,
that it's not, like, if she got shot, wow, that would be a bummer, huh? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at winking, I'm sorry.
You gotta work on that in the offseason. Look, it seems like something like that. It doesn't seem like you would need to have gag orders in this case, but you do. And to be fair, he's allowed to say these things about the judge. The judge is not protected even under that judge's gag order. It protects the lawyers and the witnesses and the jurors. I don't believe it even names his daughter or family members as those who will be protected, but bear in mind, it's not like you get one chance at a gag order. They might revisit this thing and perhaps they should.
You could get gagged again and again. You could be like Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean? Like there could be like a lot of gagging. I keep this show highbrow.
One brow high, raised, maybe. Yes, what do you think?
With her good winking eye, yeah. This case, this is like kind of a little bit off topic, but it keeps being referred to as the Stormy Daniels case, and that is a bit of a misnomer because, like John was saying, it's not about hush money, it's not about Stormy Daniels, it's about the fact that they falsified documents, right? And his attorney has already gone to jail for the exact same thing. So now things are not looking great for Trump. So he reverts back to whatever his old tactics were. He tries to intimidate people. He tries to scare them into thinking he's going to do something really terrible to whoever. But the thing is, he doesn't have a whole lot of leverage right now. He's not the president, right? He doesn't have any money. Everybody knows it. And he's busy running an election while he's sitting in a courthouse in New York. So he's not doing very well. But something else that keeps coming up, what did he say exactly? Something about like no other attorney ever, or any lawyer who's looked at it says it's a crazy case, something like that. That's a thing that keeps coming up, that this has been going on all the time and nobody ever gets prosecuted for it. I don't know why that's an argument. I don't know why that's a credible argument. And we're seeing it happen in the trial where he was accused of inflating his property values, right? Which is a different case altogether. And a lot of the commentators, the pro-Trump commentators, are talking about it and they're saying, it was a victimless crime. It's still a crime. Even if there's no victim, it's still a crime, right? And then whenever they bring up the fact that, it's still a crime, it's still on the books, and say, yeah, but everybody does it and they're never prosecuted for it. That, again, it's still a crime. It's still illegal. So even if, some people haven't been caught for it, it's still bad. It still should not be happening. So 100%. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and it's particularly ironic in this case is because, as you point out, Michael Cohen was prosecuted for this. It feels like there were some lawyers who thought it was a crime because they sent him to jail. And in terms of even in the cases where we haven't seen anything like this, the New York fraud judgment, there have been judgments against major corporations before, but George is pretty novel. Obviously, January 6th was pretty novel. That's still not a defense, Just because you're particularly creative in the way that you break the law doesn't mean that it's suddenly cool. I don't think that's how the justice system is supposed to work anyway.